What's up, my peculiar little prickly pears? This is Rob from The Gay Guy Plays, and today on #confirmed, we're digging into Devstream 140 to see what's new in the wild world of Warframe. Now, unfortunately, we are going to kick things off with a little bit of a somber announcement. TennoCon 2020 has been turned into a purely digital event, which, to be completely honest with you, I think is really smart on their part, because travel bans aside, getting people from all over the world into one place, along with the dev team, is just a stew of viral infection. And with Corona spreading as fast as it is, it might be a better idea for them to just not do it at all. And in fact, DE is taking more moves to kind of like make sure that their staff stays healthy by having them work from home. Now, I did want to go ahead and put that at the forefront of this video, mainly because of the fact that it kind of flavors the rest of the releases. I want to kind of make you guys aware of the fact that, of course, through this transition, I'm sure there are going to be some complications that they have not quite seen. So if things get delayed, I know we have a little bit of a meme with that, but keep in mind, I think that this is one of those times we can cut them some slack. Now, moving on to the next elefante in the room, the question is Rob going to be talking about #TrashBagPrime on this video? And the answer is kinda, sorta, but not really. However, I did want to go ahead and bring up some very interesting news for you guys. After the dev stream, Pablo actually tweeted, "We are adding some quality of life Exilus augments for frames that we often hear you would like to play, but their passives annoy you." Number one, vacuum is not a passive. I'm just pointing that out. So Nezha is going to disable his sliding passive, which, to be honest with you, I'm not super fond of, and I'm pretty sure I do have a power drift on him already, so I might just go ahead and slot that in anyway. Zephyr, disable the passive, 12% power strength, might check out that as well. And TITANIA, disable vacuum in Razor Wing as well as 32% aviator. Now, I'm a little like, 32% aviator, you couldn't give us the full 40? I'm just saying. I also kind of feel like it should be power strength as well. However, Pablo did point out that a lot of people use aviator in the Exilus slot. So, yeah, no, it's up for debate. At this point in time, they are going to be trying to ship it with Scarlet Spear, so I'll have some time to play around with it and figure out whether I'm gonna be buying TITANIA Prime Access or not, because really, at the end of the day, I only want to spend my money on things that I think are quality, and I don't know if 32% Aviator is enough. We'll see what happens. But for those of you curious as to how I feel about TITANIA Prime, this is actually a conversation that I had with one of my friends. I did get permission. Remember, I'm in the blue, they're in the white. They said these things, not me, just putting it out. Ew, why is TITANIA ugly? Those wings are not upgrades. Pukey face. I didn't like the wings either. What the fuck is that? My issue is, like, there's so little gold on her, it's sad. Yo, she's not fully pimped out primed like I would expect her to be. That's the ugliest prime I've seen. Uglier than Mag Prime helmets. Lols. Ew. What does it come with? Forced vacuum. So that's kind of my current stance on what is going on with that visually. But there are some other things that we can kind of gawk at, because they went ahead and showed off Nova Deluxe. So this is the part 2 one, and as you guys know, I kind of felt like it looked like a really nice Tenno-gen skin, and I still stand by that standpoint. But they did make it look good in the diorama that you're gonna see in the market. And the other thing that I have to point out is, number one, it comes with a sniper skin, which I feel like is a little disappointing. I don't feel like the sniper skin looks all that great, but yo, that Syandana! I need to take a closer look at that Syandana, because it looks kind of popping. It's a nice little back attachment. It looks like a sun flare. I'm kind of into it. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. In addition, they also showed off an in-game render of Ash Deluxe. Everybody says that it looks very Mortal Kombat-esque, but is it just me, or does it kind of also look like a mummy? Because I feel like there's some scarab stuff going on. I feel like he's just risen from the dead. Again, let me know your feelings. Now, moving along to more important things. As you guys know, status effect changes have come up recently, and they're actually going to do another wave of patches to that, some of which I am super duper happy with. First and foremost, can we all like raise a glass? As you can see, this is actually a Warframe glass. I'm not sure if you could tell. But cheers to that, because impact no longer knocks down enemies. It's no longer a knockdown or a ragdoll. Instead, it combos small staggers and big staggers. The more impacts you get on them, it'll cause them to have like a bigger stagger. It is on a little bit of a cooldown, so it's not just going to be perma stagger on enemies. In addition to that, I thought that this was kind of cool. It's a random chance, so it's going to kind of work hand in hand a little bit with Parazon finishers. The way Parazon finishers work right now, it's just a random chance for an enemy to get a Parazon finisher after they've reached a specific threshold. Now, from what I garnered from the stream is that chance is going to increase by 10% for every impact proc on the enemy. So they get lower and lower, they'll have a higher and higher, no, they get lower and lower, right? And once they hit the threshold, they'll have a higher chance for the Parazon finisher. So I'm interested to see how that goes, especially because there are some really, really cool Parazon mods out there, like blood for energy, blood for ammo, you know what I'm talking about, those ones, and then like the blinding flash ones. So that could be really, really cool and have some interesting synergies. Next up, they also said that gas is gonna be changing a little bit. As many of you guys know, a lot of people were very disappointed in the fact that it's no longer a toxin proc, can't bypass shields, but what they did say that it's gonna be stacking like it used to be. They will have a cap to it so it doesn't go crazy for all of you double triple dippers out there, putting that out there. However, the gas cloud is actually going to increase in size, which I think makes so much thematic sense with the actual status proc. I'm not saying that the status proc is going to be good. I'm just saying thematically growing up to 10 to 12 meters. In addition to that, the infected target, when that guy dies, the gas cloud will actually linger around them. So they were saying that they were playing around with the fact that you could kind of like, you know, hit certain targets and switch targets so that you could have this gas cloud just spread to a bunch of enemies. They also said that the toxic and gas resistance is going to be, well, the gas resistance is going to be removed from the toxic ancients. So keep that in mind. You'll be able to use gas just fine. You won't have like a crazy resistance to it. In addition to that, they did state that they were going to be playing with the radiation procs as well to kind of increase their efficacy. And one of the things that they actually showed some gameplay on, which I'm not going to be posting up here because she's still hashtag trashbag to me until I get to play her, right, is that status will apply to liches. So that's really, really cool, and it's kind of like in their ongoing, what do you call this, mental process in order to make status work on more types of enemies so that crit isn't the 100% go-to. However, to kind of go hand in hand with that, because there are some statuses that are very powerful, they will be increasing Lich's health. So status effects will be, you know, a go, but in addition to that, Liches will get more health so that they're not completely, you know, like baby cakes. Moving along, let's take a look at Operation Scarlet Spear, and I have to say this actually looks kind of interesting. Like, I'm halfway there. I'm not fully sold on this, but it is going to be an event that escalates, so it's an endless event. Kind of like we have survival, disruption, all of those ones that kind of keep scaling, and the rewards that you get with it will scale along with how long you stay in the event. Now, the way that it's basically going to work is there's going to be two separate areas where you're going to be able to attack as ground forces to kind of upload kill keys, and then all of the people in the air will actually be able to attack the sentient ship, and they'll be able to use those kill keys from the ground teams in order to eliminate those threats, which I believe are going to be called Murexes. I don't know why DE comes up with these weird names. If you know what a Murex is, or what it's referencing to, because they always have some sort of reference, sometimes it's cultural, which is kind of cool, leave that down in the comments. But the way that this is going to work is that every flotilla, so the kind of like relay area, will have a countdown when the next Murex will appear, because it is going to be timed. So after you reach a certain threshold, and it said 300, I'm not sure if that's 300 of these Murex things that we're trying to get rid of, then all of a sudden they'll go into kind of like temporary shutdown mode, where it's like they're waiting for the next ones to spawn. So it'll be up for several hours and then down with a timer so that you're aware of when it will reappear and you can kind of prepare in the meantime. Now, some of the rewards from this I'm really interested in is the SETI Lacera blueprint. Yo, we've been waiting for another sword and whip, so I'm kind of curious to see what the variant of the Lacera will be this time around. If maybe this one will have a little bit more crit, because I think the Lacera on its own is like almost pure status. So if this one gets a bump in crit and still keeps some of that status, ooh, it could be really juicy. Next up, we have the Basmu blueprint, which looks to be that sentient cannon that we saw in a, well, not sentient cannon, but like sentient rifle that we saw in a previous dev stream that fires off the beams. At least that's what it looks like from the preview. In addition to that, we're going to have arcanes. They showed them on screen, but they did kind of like assure us that those weren't the only arcanes that are going to be available. They're going to be adding more in. But in addition to that, we're going to have a phased clan sigil, a glyph clan sigil, and then a gilded clan sigil. So you'll be able to pick those up. So if you are in a clan, you'll be able to show it off in a couple of different ways, including wearing it as a glyph on your chest. The next thing that is on the rewards list is also the Simularina, which is basically the version of the Simulacrum that doesn't seem to have a hell of a lot of holes in it. It's the ones that you've seen them testing out recently with the 2 different statues of the Warframes in there. So that's going to be nice to pick up. And then last but not least, we have Stance Forma. We have so many different types of Forma. I kind of am into it, but I'm kind of also not into it. I'm like, it's kind of becoming a little bit overboard now. But the Stance Forma is basically going to be something you'll be able to put in the stances of all of your melee weapons to make it universal. So that's really interesting. I mean, listen, there are some weapons that I like to swap around with. A lot of the times I don't swap around though, but you know, it's an offering. And the way that this basically breaks down when you're in the mission, let's talk about the mission in and of itself and why I actually think it looked cool, is basically you go into this mission and the Grineer are mad at you and confused because, you know, the Grineer are stupid. And they're like, oh my god, the Tenno are working with the people from the Tau. We're gonna attack them. And then, you know, you gotta fight through some of the Grineer. And then you come to these open spaces and these gigantic space squid creatures. It really makes me think a lot of Watchmen. You know, like a big gigantic space squid comes down and you gotta shoot it in the eye. You shoot it in the eye, you get the kill codes. You go ahead and transmit that. It transmits to one of the teams that's actually out in space, using those kill codes on the enemies, and basically people in space do space shit. Really, that's all it comes down to. But it looks really cool. It looks like it's a big boss. I don't know what the difficulty is going to be like. And I don't know what the reward scaling is going to be like. But I'm definitely going to be checking it out. Is this blowing my mind? I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see how that works. And then the last thing that I wanted to go ahead and have a chat about is modular arc wings. They actually went ahead and shared a visual of all of the different types of arc wings that we would be able to make with the arc wings we currently have. So basically what's going to end up happening is they're just going to break down all of the different parts and pieces. All of them are going to have different stats on them, and you know, they'll work together to kind of make nice pretty arc wings. So there's really not much more to say about that because I want more further clarification, like our ability is going to be universal. Will we be able to use them on all arc wings, kind of like they work on MOAs, or is it going to be very specific to different like parts of the body, or maybe the wings will decide? I don't know. Really curious to see how that all pans out. I am kind of excited for some further customization, but that's basically it that they really had to talk about on this dev stream. I'm really excited. Let me know what you guys are excited for, if anything, because I've been watching a lot of videos on like movie releases and stuff and how they're pushing back certain movie release dates because, you know, coronavirus and all that. Are y'all at least happy that you might have something to do while you staying at home? I mean, it's at least something, right? In addition to that, as soon as Scarlet Spear does drop, we'll see what happens with Miss #Trashbag. Maybe we can unretire her from the garbage dump. So leave all of your feelings down in the comments below. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and we don't need vacuum. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!